All right, so now that we have our PopCan model here, that's textured and all that good stuff, now we're going to take advantage of these other views. All right, so if you hit 6 in each view, you'll be able to see your texture. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a bone structure inside of this can that we can later animate. So I'm just going to hit spacebar on this side view here. And we're going to switch from our modeling tab down to our rigging tab. So this is a job within itself at some studios where you are actually a character rigger. That means you build out the bone structure for animators to later animate. So we're going to go to skeleton here. We're going to go to create joints. And what I like to do is turn on this wireframe on shaded, so it helps me see my wireframe better. And wherever you place a joint, you want it to be anywhere where there's a vertex edge. So I'm holding shift here so I can keep my joint straight. I'm going to click once more on top. Now it helps to be able to see our joints through our model. So the very last option here is X-ray joint mode. So I'm going to click that on. Then I'm going to hit enter. Now it's important that you create that joint from the bottom. So let's go ahead and hit spacebar and then go back to our perspective view. We're going to turn on X-ray joint mode in this view. It's important that we see it from, we look at it from a perspective because you always want your joint directly in the center of your model. So if we look at each view, here's our front. Hit F to focus on that. And I think we have to maximize to get all the way over here. There we go. So you can see that it's in the center of our model all the way around. Okay, so back in perspective. Now, we want to be able to rotate these joints and have our can follow our joint. So what you want to do is select your root joint. So let's go ahead and select this bottom joint here. And then where it says joint 1, let's name it ROOT for root. And then I'm going to name this spine 1. And then I'm just going to name this head. So this is our head joint. All right. Now select your root joint. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Q for my selection tool. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to select my can. And I'm going to go up top here and I'm going to go to skin. And where it says bind skin, I'm going to click the options here. And I'm not going to go through all of these options, but there's only one small change I want you to make. And you see where it says classic linear? I want you to do dual quaternion and then hit apply. It just gives you a much better result. I'm going to close that. And now when I select my joint and I hit E to select my rotation tool, I can actually rotate it and you'll see my can moving around. So let's undo this. Now, there's something else. If I click on my channel box here, I want you to pay attention to, is you cannot zero out our joints. Do you see that? So another thing I want you to point out is when you select my can, notice that I forgot to delete history. I did this on purpose because what I want you to get comfortable with is now that we know that we have to delete history to clean it up, what are we going to do if we delete history now? Well, if I do it now, it's going to detach this top thing which says skin cluster 1. So what we want to do is go to edit, delete all by type, non-deformer history. And that's going to delete everything but that skin cluster, and it's going to keep my model clean. Now back to my initial issue, what you'll notice is here on this joint, here, let's click off here, as I select these joints, the translations are not frozen. And this is a problem because whenever I'm animating, you'll see this later, I want to make sure that I can always return to the original point oftentimes when I'm animating. So I need these to be all zeroed out. So let's go ahead and create some controllers that I'm going to attach to this rig that are going to help us to move our can. So let's go up here and go to create, NURBS primitive, and go to circle. And my circle's a pretty good size here. And another thing I want to do is hide my can. So I'm going to go to show, and I'm going to turn off polygons, which is right here. So I'm only looking at the skeleton. Now don't be afraid, we didn't delete the model, we just hit it. So here's my NURBS controller. You'll see that it's zeroed out. I'm going to hit Control and D as in duck. And then I'm going to move it up. And you'll notice that it's translating on Y. I'm going to hold the V as in Victor key and move it up. And what that does is while I'm holding V and moving it is it snaps it to the center vertex of this bone. All right, let's hit Control D again. I'm going to hold, again, I'm going to move this up. I'm going to hold V, right, as I'm moving this up. And you can see it snapped it to that top. Now, notice that these are not all zeroed out either, or transformed or not frozen. So what I'm going to do is select all three, go to Modify, and go to Freeze Transformation. And you'll see now that they're all zeroed out. And like I said before, say we move our character all the way over here, and I want it to return back to that position. Well, all I have to do now is enter 0 and hit enter, and I'll return back. So the next thing we need to do is connect these three NURB circles that we created to the skeleton. So the way we're going to do that is by using constraints. So let's select the first NURB circle. I'm going to hit Q, and then you're going to hold Shift and click on that bottom root. As you go to constraint, look for, let's go ahead and click those little dots at the top to bring this out. Let's start off with orient. Orient will move whatever you select first. It'll move whatever you're orienting. So in this case, it's the root, the position to that. That means that everywhere I move this, this will follow. So I'm going to go to orient. I'm going to click the options box, and I want to make sure that I click on maintain offset. And what that means is whatever position this is in, it's always going to follow it. I'm going to hit apply, select the next one, hold shift, click this guy, hit apply, select the next one, hit this one, and then hit apply. So now wherever I move this, right? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Orient is rotation. So now wherever I rotate this, it's going to rotate the other one. Sorry about that. I did orient first. I meant to do point. All right, so let's do the next one, which is point. So let's select this. I'm going to hit Q, select that bottom one, and then I'm going to go point. But I want to make sure under options I have maintain offset. I'm going to hit apply. And let's see. It seems like I didn't get that. There we go. Apply. Select the next one, hold shift, hit apply. And then the same one here, and then hit apply. Now when I move this, you'll notice it follows it. Now I'm only selecting this NURB circle. The thing is, when I rotate or move this one, I want the top one to follow it. So I'm going to select this top NURB circle first, and then I'm going to hold shift, select the next one, and hit P as in parent or people. Then I'm going to select this next one, hold shift, and hit P as in parent or people. Now if I move this bottom one, which is my root or my master, it'll move it all. And if I want to move it back into place, I can just enter 0 here. So let's close this. Let's close this guy too. And let's go to show and turn on polygon so we can see how this controls this guy. So if I select this NURB circle here and I hit E, I can rotate that out. And then if I'm like, oh my God, I really screwed up my can, not a big deal. Just enter zeros in here and it's back to normal. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S to save this. And to kind of make it easier to view, you can actually go to show and we no longer need to see our joints because we've got these nifty NURB circles. See that? So in the next video, we're going to take a look at the role of the animator. Yeah, that's about it. We're done with our rigging.